roadside to the slum. It was a dream, but now, alhamdulillah, it's a reality. It's a reality.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My name is Hussain Thomas. I've been Muslim about 10 years and I'm from South London. I grew up in a council estate in Battersea named Surrey Lane. Most of you will know Romeo from So Solid. Him and his older brother live one floor below me. My mum's Jamaican and my dad's Haitian, but I don't know my father's side of the family. Basically, unfortunately, like a lot of men from the Caribbean, my father went AWOL, so, typical story, the father, basically disowned his responsibility. He left my mum, and it was me, my younger brother, my younger sister. I was the oldest, and I really believe that, if a young boy doesn't have his father, something gives way, because I started to take liberties because I never had a father around. I basically started to take liberties with my mum. I wouldn't do anything around the house. I would kiss my teeth when she would talk to me. I would slam the door in her face. As I turn up music when she's talking to me, I just pretended she wasn't there. And basically, at first when I was small, she used to beat me to keep me in check and stuff like that. And as I grew up, I just got worse and worse. And I would do things like, if my brother had a toy or Walkman or anything, I would just take it off him, if he got a bicycle or something, I would just take it off him. Whatever he had was basically mine, so I basically terrorised him. As we got older, we moved from Battersea, which was like a grey dull council estate with urine in the lifts and spit on the on lift buttons and stuff like that. We moved to Wandsworth. It was a nice area. We moved to a house because we were on a waiting list for about 10 years or something. And the environment, the place where we lived was a bit better than Battersea, but it was too late for me, or it didn't have any effect on me, because I started at such a young age being rude that I just carried on. And plus, because I got older, the beats didn't hurt me anymore from my mum, so I became more and more unruly, and I would do things like come in at 2 or 3 o'clock at night. I'd knock on the door because I would lose my keys somewhere, and if no one opened the door, then I'd throw a stone up at my brother's window, and we had this unwritten agreement that when I throw a stone up at the window, because he slept right at the bed by the window, the longer it took him to come down and open the door, the longer the beats would be, and the harder the beats would be in the morning. So anyway, I just basically carried on. And from when I was living in Battersea, my mum used to turn to me, and I used to see tears in her eyes, from her breaking down, from losing hope with not being able to keep being in check and so forth. Like one time, I even went to school. I was told I didn't go to school, and then when I went to school, the next time I went into school, they asked me why I didn't come. I said, my mum beat me because I knew it would get into trouble with social services, and she got in trouble and stuff like that. So I just took liberties. But anyway, as I got older, I started hanging around with these people, and I started getting older and so forth. My mum would turn to me with tears in her eyes and just say, "Look, Jason, what are you doing? You don't respect me, you don't listen to me, you slam the door in my face, you kiss your teeth, you spit on the floor in front of me and stuff like that. Like, if you carry on doing this, I'm gonna kick you out." And I, deep down inside myself, because I knew my mum loved me, I just thought, yeah, whatever. I just kept on doing it more and more, because I knew she loved me, and I just thought, I'm just gonna take liberties, because who's gonna stop me? And this carried on. Then one day I come home, and there's 2 black bags outside. So I thought, boy, my brother's slipping, because he must have forgot to take the rubbish out and put them in a little dustbin shed, because that's because I don't do no work around here. So he needs to sort himself out and start helping around, because I ain't gonna put that out. So anyway, I knock on the door as normal, no one opens the door, and this is about 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. So then what I do, I throw the stone up at the window, and normally my brother opens it up straight away, but he didn't open it up this time. So I'm thinking, what's going on? So I start making threats. I say, "Boy, Richard, you better come open the door. I want to beat the hell out of you. Come downstairs." And now I start shouting at him loud. The neighbours start looking out, and this, that, and the other, and so forth. So I start kicking in the door and stuff like that, punching out the door. And then what happens with my mum, because there was a balcony in the house. So what happened? My mum come out and she said, "Look, Jason, I'm sorry. I've dealt with this for years and years and years and years. I can't take it anymore. Them 2 black bags outside the house, they're your belongings. I'm sorry, I'm not opening the door. If you kick anymore, I'm gonna call the police. Richie's not opening the door, Shannon or your little sister's not opening the door, I'm sorry, you're kicked out, and I'm not opening the door for you, and I mean it this time. So what happens? I start arguing more. But then the neighbours, they start arguing with me and saying, "Why are you making noise? We have to work with this, that, and the other." And my mum was serious about calling the police. So from that stage, I was homeless. Um, and then basically, so I was staying at different people's friends' house, but then their mums would say, "Why don't you go home?" and so forth. And then I try and stay at this person's hostel and so forth. And basically, I was homeless for about a year, and it was a really rough time because I went down to about like 6, 7, 8 stone and so forth, and it was just like there was it was times when I would lose consciousness and stuff like that. My clothes became too big for me and baggy and stuff because I was literally had nowhere to go because of I'd really ruined things with my mother and my relatives and stuff like that, and they had patience for years, and this was it, the end. So one day I was in Ballimore, Clapham South, and I was like really, really faint, I'm saying, and like I said, I'll lose conscious and so forth, and then come back around and so forth, and there was like a blue office, it was in between Balham and Clapham South. So what happened is that I walk in there. It was basically a little clinic place or like a little office for young single mothers or was it pregnant teens or something. So I walk in and there was a lady in there. And I said, "Look, I need your help. I'm homeless. All my relatives have disowned me. I'm living basically outside. I need your help. If I don't get any help or I don't find somewhere to stay, I might die out there. I literally have nowhere to stay." So the woman said to me, "I'm not really dealt or equipped to deal with homeless people. I deal with young mothers and pregnant teens and so forth." I said, "Look, but I need your help. What am I gonna do? Look at me. You can see the state of me. I need your help. I can't go outside. If you don't help me, I might die out there. So what happened is she said, "Look, I can't really help you. I'll try and make some phone calls and I'll see what I can do." So she spent about an hour on the phones, and after she said, "Look, I couldn't really do much for you. I've arranged a meeting for you with some people, and they're gonna interview you, and they're gonna see if they maybe can find you a shelter or for the night, or or a place to stay, for you to like sleep a day or so." So the meeting was about 2 weeks away, and I made it to the meeting. I can't remember much about the meeting. All I can remember, there was a man, there was a woman, and at the end of it, they put a key in my hand, and basically they gave me like I had like a bed sit or a little place, and I was happy. I was proper over I just from going out, not having nowhere to sleep. Sometimes I was so slim and ill that sometimes I looked at a bin and I contemplated, should I put my hand in there and pick out something to eat? Like, it was that bad, and to actually have a place, a roof, I was happy. So anyway, now this I was around, what was it, 15, 16, and now I have my own place, and around that time I met one of my old friends who I used to go to secondary school with, and I started hanging out with him, and he started hanging out with me, and then what happened, he introduced me to his friends and so forth, and then used to hang out on a estate in Wandsworth called Henry Prince Estate, and on Garrett Lane, and then basically I started hanging out with him, and I had total freedom at this time. I could wear what I want, I could watch what I want, I could bring around what I want, I could smoke what I want, I could drink what I want, I could do whatever I want. So what happened, I started linking up with his friends, and hanging around with him on the estate, and then I saw, because we was at 15, 16, around these age 17, and then what happened, there was olders, because they were kind of like, he had these older friends, and I looked up to these older guys because they had like convertibles, they had motorbikes, in them days they had big chops, they called it, gold around their wrist and around their neck and so forth, and basically I was like thinking, this is a life of fun. These guys, they don't work, they don't go to college, you know what I'm saying? They have no responsibility, they're young, they just rave, smoke, you know what I'm saying? They get into fights with other different crews and stuff like that, and they just do what they want. So I started hanging around with them, and at that time, I started hanging around with them, you know what I'm saying, and they started to come to my place. So I would hang out, smoke weed, you know, wake up in the morning. The first thing I'd do, I would have my music set right next to me. Before, you know, my eyes even open up, you know what I'm saying, I would press play, you know what, listen to some Tupac, Biggie and all this kind of stuff. So it's just a life. So anyway, after a while of hanging around with these guys, I want to know, how did you go cars? How did you get the motorbikes? How did you get, you know, the Versace Machino at the end of the days? That's what it was. I was like, how do you get it if you don't work and stuff like that? So they said they're going to show me. So anyway, one day I was, you know, I went with them and they basically showed me how they made money. So they would go into somewhere like a news agents or something. What they do, they pick up like a polo, you know what I'm saying, and a can of Coke or something, and they give the person £1. And that person would take their pound, they would basically take their pound, press the till to open, and then they would attack them. You know what I'm saying? They would attack them, and bum rush them, yeah? And then basically until the person was out of it. And then what they would do is they would take the 2 trays out of the till. You know, the one on top had coins and the one underneath notes. And they would do other things like wait for business people to come home from like Earlsfield train station, coming from Liverpool Street or Clapham Junction or somewhere, and they would just wait for business people to come home and either rob them, you know, or rob them just outside their house. So they used to do a mixture of things to make money. So me hanging around with these people, after a while I just said, I want it, you know what I'm saying? They've got the, you know, they got the latest machine on Versace and this, that. I want it too. So I started hanging around. In them days we had olders and youngers, so I started hanging around with them. And I started doing what they're doing the shops and so forth. So anyway, if you do a lot of crime, you're gonna obviously get in trouble with the law. So what happened, I started going in and out of a police station, in and out of court, you know, then I started doing, probation, people sitting down talking to you, why are you doing these things, why are you hurting people and taking their money? It's like after you do probation, you go to community service, paint a fence, help out the community, do all these things, you know, after you keep on doing it, there comes a stage when you eventually go jail. So anyway, I go jail, and you know, I'm waiting to go. It's my first time being in jail, so I'm there for a very short time, and they give me bail. They say, look, okay, you've been in jail for a little while. We're gonna give you bail, and we're gonna let you out. So they let me out. You know, while it's out, I robbed a businessman coming home from work, and they put me back in. And they said, this time you're not going nowhere. You're waiting in jail until, you know, your trial. Unfortunately, the first person I robbed, while I was waiting for his trial to basically come, it kept on getting postponed because you know, God forgive us, Allah forgive us, but we attacked him very bad. So every time I was supposed to go to trial, the case got put back because he couldn't attend because he had heart failure and he was in critical condition. So I kept getting pushed back until I did about a year in jail. So anyway, one of them days when I was living in Battersea, this is how I got introduced to Islam. One of these days when I was at my mum's house being rude and, you know what I'm saying, and being, how can I say, being disrespectful and kissing my teeth and slamming the door in the face and listening to my music, my cousin came around. So my cousin came around, but he looked different. He had a beard, he was wearing a long robe, you know what I'm saying, and he just seemed a bit different. So I asked him, I said, Warren, I said, what happened to you? And he said he's become a Muslim. So I was really confused, you know what I'm saying, because my cousin, he's darker skinned than me. So I was thinking, how can you become an Asian? You know, and I was wondering, how look, you're still black. How are you gonna be? How can you become an Asian? You know, are you gonna paint yourself lighter or whatever and so forth? So my cousin, you know, obviously he sat me down and explained to me that a Muslim is not a race of people. You know what I'm saying? It's a belief. You know, and he told me, you know, that there's many different religions in the world. Like our family were Jamaican Christians. You know, he said there's many different religions in the world, and they all tell you to do good, give charity. You know, be nice to old people, be nice to your parents, help the poor. But he said when you take time out to look into the religions and see what they're worshipping, they're all worshipping a man or a statue or animal or something that's created. And he said Islam's the only religion that tells you to worship God alone, not to worship a man, not to worship a statue, not to worship an animal, or if these other religions don't make God like a man, statue, animal, and if these things, they give God human thoughts like getting hungry, getting thirsty. Like God created the world in 7 days, you know, and then 6 days then he rested, you know, God got tired and sat down and just got tired and stuff. So he said all these other religions, they just either worship things that God created, or they give God human weakness. Islam's the only one that says God is perfect. He doesn't become man, he doesn't become statue, he doesn't become animal, he doesn't become any of these things, and he doesn't get hungry, thirsty, tired, or anything. And I said to him, because even though I was a rude guy, kissing my teeth, slamming my door, listening to, my music and this, that, and the other, I thought that's what we believed as Christians. I thought we believed that Moses, Jesus, all these people came and told people to worship God, and the people who disbelievers were the people that worship idols. But he said to me, no, our Jamaican family, they believe Jesus is God. I goes, no, they don't. We don't believe Jesus is God. So anyway, I went to my mum and I spoke to my mum. And I said, Mum, look, we believe that Jesus was all these people, they came to tell people to worship God, innit? And she said, no, son, we actually believe in the Trinity, that there's sometimes God is the Father in heaven, sometimes it's the Holy Spirit, and sometimes it's Jesus the man. And even though I was this guy being rude, listening to my rap music and swearing, and slamming down, kissing my teeth and stuff like that, I never believed that. I never, they never told us to go in detail and stuff like that. So from that moment there, when my mum told that Jesus was God, this man who used to pray, this man that was a baby and Mary used to look after him, this man, that basically, used to tell people to worship God, I stopped believing it because, we know the story about Jesus was a baby in a cradle and then that people looked after him and this, that and the other. So how could that be the creator of the universe? How could Mary look after God Almighty? How could Mary carry God around in her stomach, for 9 months? I couldn't believe it. So I stopped, basically what happened, I stopped believing from that point. I didn't become Muslim, but I stopped believing that life. But my cousin, he never lived here. When he came over and told me that was only about like 5 minutes, 10 minutes. He just gave me a brief talk, told me why I was Muslim, basically explained Tawheed to me. So anyway, he left, went back to Yemen or Morocco, and wherever he was living. And then I just kept on living my life. I got kicked out by my mum. I started hanging around with these guys. I had my own place, smoking, drinking, raving, getting a few arms here and there, fights and so forth. And then I ended up in jail. So I'm in jail now. And basically, I'm thinking, what am I here for? I've been in prison for about nearly a year now. I'm going up for trial, thinking, what are we here for? Initially, when I started hanging around with these guys, they're smoking the weed, they're going raving, they're getting a new off-key machine or shirts and stuff. It was exciting at first because I'd never done it. I'd never been to a rave, I'd never smoked a spliff. I said, hi girlfriend, this, that, that. So it was exciting at the beginning. But after you've been in it for years, it becomes dead. The girls are cheap. You can't trust them. You can't trust them. You get a new shirt, the latest one, and then a better one comes out. There's that and the other. You got a big rep. Someone's got a bigger rep than you. So I knew it was unattainable. I knew people from the elders that would beat up enough man and then they would get stabbed once and then everyone will forget that. So I just knew it was. I knew that I couldn't get to the top of this. So I started thinking, what's the purpose of life? So then I started to remember when I was in jail, what my cousin said. And I said, yeah. That thing where he's saying that there's one God, and that basically, God is not like a man or a woman. I believe that, I was thinking to myself, at the end of the day, if there's a God, if my cousin's praying and he's doing all this stuff and so forth, and after a lot of bad things, there's going to be a time when I'm going to be questioning about what I did. So what I basically did, this is what made me become Muslim. I looked at I read the Bible, I read the Quran, I looked at my Christian family, and I looked at my cousin. And I could see my cousin, he had a beard, like the prophets do in the Bible. He fell down on his face and prayed like the prophets do in the Bible. His wife used to dress like Mary in hijab and stuff like that. He didn't used to eat pork, he didn't used to drink alcohol, he never used to rave. All the prophets, they never did any of this stuff in the Bible. Then I would look at my church, like my family, when they go church, all they do is guys sing songs and this, that and the other, and other churches they need to jump up and down, get saxophone, get piano, get tambourines. And I thought, where in the Bible do you find Jesus and the disciples go somewhere and get jiggy with it and start dancing around and worshipping God? You don't really find it. You just find them praying humbly, like the Muslims wearing a robe, having their beds, the women dressing in hijab and stuff like that. And I said, listen, the closest people that that look to be following prophets and believing in one God, which I do, I believed it, or always believed in hell, always believed in paradise, always believed in the day of judgment. I just didn't know how it applied to me, So then I said to me, at the end of the day, look, this life of following the rappers and the smoking and drinking and this, that and the other doesn't fulfill me anymore. I've done a lot of stuff, I haven't got caught for it. I'm gonna get held accountable with it. So I thought, if there's a way of life, that's right. I might not be a good Muslim, but I believe in what they believe in. And I might not be the best Muslim, or I might not be a good Muslim, but I'm gonna at least admit that I don't want to be a Christian, I don't want to be a Hindu, I don't want to be a Sikh, and I want to follow that way. I don't know how I'm gonna get there. I'm at the moment smoking weed, listening to Tupac. I don't know how I'm gonna get there, but I know that's the truth. Because I ain't got no degrees, I ain't got no qualifications like that. I know that there's one God. He's not a man, he's not a statue, he's not an animal, and so forth. And that's what I was willing to die on. So basically, after reading the Quran and the Bible, looking at my Christian Jamaican family and my cousin, I just decided, I bear witness that there's no God that has the right to be worshipped except Allah, who's not a man, a woman, a statue, or animal, and that Prophet Muhammad, Moses, Jesus, and Noah, they were all messengers of Allah.
Okay, Aki, you told us a little bit about how your life was before Islam. Can you tell us how Islam has changed your life?
I'm happy that I became Muslim because I'm a happy person now, sincerely happy person now. Before, every morning when I woke up, I needed a spliff and I needed music. I would be unhappy if I couldn't have hear music and have a spliff. I was wretched. I was irritative. I was very annoyed, very unpleasant person to be around. So now that I'm free from weed and music and so forth, and also I found myself doing stuff that I would never be able to do before. If you told me in jail, when I was in jail smoking weed, listening to Tupac and this, that, and the other, that I would actually be going, I would actually, not be smoking, be learning to speak Arabic, would be working, would be, married and so forth. I would never believe it. I would never be able to do these things. But then I do these things, through Islam. I talk to other different Muslims about Islam. I go to university, colleges, this, that, and the other. Lots of different things. So Islam's just happy with me. And one of the best things is that my mum loves me, and she also loves Islam because she knows not prison, not the church, not anyone else could change me. And the only thing that stopped me, was Islam and Allah. And she got her son back now, and she never had her son back before, So alhamdulillah, praying, working, marriage, and also just the way I walked down the street. Before I used to go to the shop, and I used to use my race and stuff to intimidate the man around the corner. If I'll be in a car or something, listen to some rap beat, screwing everyone, I cut man up on the road and still screw them and think, and what? And so forth, and just my whole way now. I hate bullies. I hate people who rob people. I hate people that who attack people. Islam has just made me more civilized and a better human being. I can actually say now I'm a creation of God who walks on the earth humbly, and I don't want problems with anyone. I just want to worship my Lord, work, pray, and be a good person.
Now, what advice have you got to Muslims and non-Muslims regarding Islam?
Okay, to the non-Muslims, basically I would say, the sun, the moon, the stars, this planet, it's not an accident, A BMW can't come about by chance, a phone can't come about by chance, so this universe, which is more complex, can't come about by chance. To the non-Muslim men, I would say, look, at the end of the day, you're never going to be the top of this, this guy. You're never going to be the biggest, the most famous, the most rich. There's always going to be someone with more. So this dream of trying to, be the henchman, trying to have the most girls, the most rep, this, that, it's not achievable. Yeah, no one has ever reached at the top before they died. So I would just say to you, get the Quran, read it, and ask yourself, is this a speech of God directly to man? Read the Quran and just judge for yourself. Have an informed choice and choose whether you think it's the truth. Same thing with the women. That this universe, is not an accident. It's not a fluke. It's not a joke. Yeah. So at the end of the day, a man didn't create this universe. A woman didn't create this universe. A monkey or an idol or statue didn't create this universe. There's a supreme being, a supreme power. Yeah. We call that Allah. There has to be more to life than looking pretty, because there's always going to be someone more pretty and walking down the high street and turning man's head. There's always going to be someone prettier, there's always going to be someone wearing less clothes, there's always going to be someone more attention. It's impossible to reach the top. You die before you reach the top, and you can't reach the top anyway, because there will always be a bigger, another creation of God that's more pretty or better looking. So you can't reach that. So you read the Quran, yeah? Ask yourself, if the purpose of life ain't about putting makeup on and turning guys' heads on the high street, then what is the purpose of life? Must be more to it. And to the Muslims, My advice to you is you're only one of two people. You're only one of two people. Either you're someone who, either you believe in Islam or you don't. If you're a Muslim and you believe in Islam and you believe that Day of Judgment is there, paradise is there, hellfire is there, and Allah is, you know, is real, then you can live life either or two ways. Block out anything Islamic and pretend the smoking, the drinking, the listening to music and the raving and stuff is all cool, and just avoid Islamic people and Islamic places and pretend everything's fine, you know, and think because you're not reading about the Day of Judgment, you're not reading about hellfire and paradise, that doesn't apply to you. But it does apply to you. So all you can do is block it out and pretend it doesn't exist, and when you die and wake up and realise that it's real, you're finished. Or you can try, and like, none of us are perfect. The bed doesn't come overnight. The trousers above the ankle over the trousers above the ankle don't come overnight. The hijab, the niqab, whatever, it doesn't come overnight. It's a struggle. You know, you struggle, fight, slip, get over it. Struggle, fight, slip, get over it. So either you're a Muslim who's trying, to please Allah, who makes mistakes, you know, but keeps on trying, or you're someone who just totally gives up. I myself, as a Muslim who was as a non-Muslim who was smoking, drinking, robbing people, is that when I read about hellfire and I read about paradise and I read about Judgment Day and I read about like the signs of Angel Jibril, that he has 600 wings and he covers the whole of the horizon, I believe in it. I know I cannot be on this earth robbing from people, hurting people. I can't handle the punishment for it. So I have to start, working. I have to start being good. I have to start not hurting Allah's creation. Why? Because the reality is I can't handle it if I go into hellfire, and I'm scared of the hellfire. I'm scared of judgment. Like, I'm not ashamed of saying that. So if you think that you can go around stabbing up Allah's creation, shooting Allah's creation, sleeping with Allah's creation, breaking our hearts in front of the way, then keep on doing it. If you think you can just go around, keep walking down the street half naked, telling man's says disobeying Allah, pretend does it, do it. I personally can't do it, so I'm trying with my mistakes, to be a better Muslim. And that's the only advice I would give you. Either you're going to try to follow Islam, or you're just going to give up and do what Shaitan says. I'm trying, and I have mistakes, but I'll still try until I die, inshallah.